How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Clearfight with us on tonight, and they can say their names and what they do in the band.
My name is Hunter, and I do vocals in the band. So basically just loud noises into the microphone, you know?
And I'm Colt. I play guitar in the band and founded this fun journey just under a year ago with Hunter and Gabe. So we're stoked to be on here. Thank you, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming on. I don't know too much about your band, so this is going to be a fun experience for me to get to know you guys. How did you guys kind of start out Clearfight? Give me basically the anthology story about Clearfight and how it all kind of began.
So I have played in numerous bands for the last 10, 12 years. Mm-hmm. And in the last several years, my focus has kind of always been around pop rock and pop punk bands. Sure. And I don't know, in the last couple of years, obviously with COVID and with just a lot of different life changes, I kind of took a break from playing music in general. I think that when you're kind of just going nonstop in the grind, you lose kind of track of who you are musically and what you really want to play and write. And eventually you almost feel like you're doing it to try and please everybody else and not, and not what you got into music for, which is to really kind of, self-expression. Right. So, through that break, I guess July or August of last year, I started listening to some just playlists and stuff, and I said, I kind of miss writing. I haven't wrote a song in 2 years now. I've really just put my guitars down. The amount of dust I had to wipe off those things when I started playing was stupid. And I just started kind of plunking around guitar, and within I'd say 4 hours or 5 hours, I had our first debut single that came out, Goldmine, written and ready to go. Mm-hmm. And it just became a thing where I said, wow, I actually really like this song, and I have no idea where it came from and how it just came to be that I was writing music that I didn't think I would be able to write again. I almost felt like all the music had been written out of me at that point. Sure. But I'm only one person. I don't love to sing. I love writing music. I love playing guitar. I'm not, doing vocals is not my favorite thing. So I knew I would need somebody that I could trust to really bring these songs to life. And so that was kind of the first part of figuring this band out, was who's going to sing in it. And Hunter was around and on social media and stuff. We kind of connected, and we we didn't talk a lot, but he was a fan of the band that I was a part of previously. So cool. That's kind of how we connected. Is he was a big fan of that band, and I like I said, I had left in 2019, but we were still connected. And so I put a post out just hey, I have some music. I'm kind of looking for somebody that wants to do this type of music. And Hunter was probably the first person that commented right away and was sounds good to me, man.
The funny thing is that I didn't even realize it was a band I was attempting to join. I already had a band out in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then Colton, he had this idea for what he wanted to do, and so I thought that he just wanted to do a song or something. Sure. And I was I would love to feature on a song with him. That'd be sick, And then obviously it turned into all this.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really turned into something that I don't think either of us thought it would. I mean, we really just wanted to just kind of do the music justice and have fun with it, Sure, and so Gabe, who is also a part of this band, I've been friends with Gabe for so long, and we'd never been in a band together, even though I was always around supporting the music he was playing. He was always around supporting the bands I was in, and but we never really had chance because Gabe literally just got out of the Navy for I don't know 6 or 7 years, I think. He was in. Okay. And as soon as he came out, he was I'm ready to play music as soon as I get home. And I was well, perfect, because I have the band for you, man. So it just worked perfectly. And he he's such a good fit. I mean, he's definitely like an emotional feel type guitarist. He really
Sure.
like, you can tell like when he's into a song, right? Like his playing is just much more to the feel of the song, and you know, it's the perfect fit because a lot of this music is very more emotional, and some of it's very like heart wrenching in the
Sure.
lyrics,
Yeah.
and you know, the topics that it's about. So he was just such a great fit for guitar in this band. And you know, Hunter and I have been very like, I don't know, like, not, I don't want to say picky, but we've been very careful in particular with like kind of who we let in the circle with this
Sure.
band too,
Yeah.
because it's just, Clearfight's a very like personal thing to me, where I could give up, like, you know, we just, you know, you mentioned Cody at the beginning of this, so like most people probably don't know, but like we just signed our first record deal with Theoria Records recently, and like super excited about that. And Cody is just like such a great guy, and we've had a
Can
blast
attest.
getting to know him and working with him. And you know, but that being said, like, and I think I may have told Cody this before we signed, like I would give all of this up if like it literally meant like the difference between us being able to be organic and write music that just means something to us, or write something that, you know, is some like pop top 40 BS that I don't resonate with. I
Sure.
would
Yeah.
give it all up just to do what I want to do, right? That I'm passionate about. And Cody and Theoria are amazing at letting us just be us. They're not on top of us about being a certain way or doing things a certain way that we don't agree with. It's a very collaborative, but that's the whole thing with this band, is we just want to enjoy, you know, what we're doing, put music out that other people enjoy, and it resonates with them in some
Sure.
way. Hopefully, you know, and you know, either like enlightens or enriches their days somehow, you know, and we just want everybody to have a good time. And so that's kind of what Clearfight's about. And, you know, I only mentioned Hunter and Gabe, so we do have Lyle, our buddy Lyle plays bass for us.
Very
And
cool.
he's not like a, we'll call him, he's a part-time member of the band because he's a full-time dad right now.
Sure.
So, you know, he's got so much on his plate being a first time dad right now. And you know, we're you know, they have like the cutest baby in the world, so he needs to focus on that. And but he slaps the bass for us when we need him, so it's a good pairing there too. And I've known Lyle for a long while now too, so that's kind of Clearfight in a very big long-winded nutshell. And yeah, so
No, I think it's really cool to, and that's kind of like the reason why I like asking these sorts of questions. Because for myself, like, I'm very much a music nerd. I mean, literally have a YouTube channel dedicated to like, you know, great local, you know, and like bands that are around and just doing great stuff. And when, you know, Cody had messaged me about you guys, I was like, let me give him a listen, because I know Cody and Chris, you know, shouts to Theoria. I know they really have some great artists, and I know it's not just some like it's not some like bullshit kind of thing where, you know, they're just like, oh, okay, check this band out. Like, I legitimately know, you know, deep within my soul that, you know, Cody and Chris, you know, really do care about the bands that they sign and have on and stuff. And so I feel like for myself, whenever I have, you know, their bands on, I like want to have the opportunity to like really listen to their stuff and really kind of absorb it. And so, you know, luckily they sent me Dropout, and I listened to that just before we hopped on, and I was like, all right, like this is something within my wheelhouse that I really enjoyed. Not that I feel like most of the stuff they send to me is always most likely, you know, pretty much my wheelhouse, but I absolutely love Dropout, and I went back and like listened to some of the other stuff that you guys have out, and I was like, okay, this is a good fit, you know, for what I'm looking for. So, you know, I appreciate you guys for, you know, taking the opportunity to come on. But you know, I guess, you know, bouncing off what Colt said earlier about like just finding people that, you know, give a shit about the band, you know, as a collective, like I resonate with that a lot too, just because this is my thing and my baby. And so like I feel like letting people in is just like not in the cards essentially, and that's not because I'm
yeah.
hard to work with. It's just like I feel like I have a lot of respect, you know, and I have a lot of admiration for what you guys do, you know, as a band, you know, and just having that sort of camaraderie as artists, you know, and just friends. I think that's like, you know, a great basis for, you know, being in a band together. And, you know, I think some of the things that you mentioned just about, you know, finding people on the internet that just connect with, you know, either a previous band or like the current band, I think that just kind of speaks volumes for like the type of artists that, you know, are coming out now, where it's like, you know, where it's very like, we got to be friends first and then kind of like grow from there. And so, you know, I appreciate the detailed storyline of that. You know, you did speak, Colt, about, you know, starting the band kind of in the pandemic, and, you know, how do you feel like you guys have, you know, gone about it? Because I've been kind of asking that question to, you know, a lot of different bands that I've been having on recently, but, you know, how have you guys individually, you know, gone about, you know, this, I imagine, difficult passage of Clearfight, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I'll go, and then Hunter is going to have, you know, a unique perspective to this too.
Sure.
Yeah, mine's a little bit different.
So I think it's made us a stronger band in some ways, because there is there's an element of long distance to this band that Hunter can speak to, that makes it very challenging.
But it's fun, though.
Also,
it's fun.
It's very fun, and you know, I'd say like our songwriting process is one thing that I feel like has really excelled and evolved at a fast rate because of it, because of the pandemic and just the long distance in general.
Sure.
You know, I don't want to, when I can avoid it, I guess, when I was starting out, I didn't want us to immediately start going into a studio and like trying to write all this stuff and record it.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to almost like use my DAW as like my studio, or my journal. My studio is my journal. Being able to like record this music as it comes to me, the lyrics as they come to me, and not feel like I need to like jot it down in my notes and then say, okay, can't wait to get to the studio in a month, right? Like it's, I just use my home studio as like an opportunity to like throw these ideas down, whether they work or not. It's kind of like irrelevant. That was kind of how it started. And I say that, but like we're going into an actual studio in like 2 weeks to record a couple songs for the first time. We're actually going into a studio to work with a buddy of mine, Kevin Gates, out of Springfield, Missouri. He actually produced like Never Shout Never and some artists like that back in the day.
Neat.
And he's like, does phenomenal work, and we've been like dying to work with each other. And finally I was like, okay, can we get everybody in the same room for like 3 days, not at my house? Okay, we can do this. So
I guess we should probably explain that a little bit now.
Yeah, so that kind of goes to Hunter's perspective of this. Go ahead, man.
So I don't live in Kansas City with everybody else.
Oh, wow. All right.
I have never lived in Kansas City. I've never lived in Missouri. I don't even live within an hour or a couple hours of where they are. It's about a 10-hour drive for me.
Woo! Wow.
I am up near the big old city of Chicago.
Oh, nice.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm very proud of my city. It's hard. I am moving away to be closer to the band. So
very cool.
Luckily, that'll be a little bit helpful. But at first it was hard because just out of nowhere. I mean, I'm from a small town, and when I was doing my previous band, we were about 2 years old, but very, very, very small. So I hadn't really had a super like big taste of like what making music and playing music really was.
Sure, yeah.
So jumping into the whole experience, I went from like driving my Honda Pilot to play my bar show that's 10 minutes from my house to getting on an Amtrak train and riding to a city that I had no idea really where it was, anything about the city. I didn't know anybody there, and I had to just trust that these people I had met online from liking their music, that they weren't gonna like murder me or something. But
I mean, dude, I had the basement already, like chains ready to go, lock you up in there. But then we found out you had like you had Stephanie at home and dogs and stuff, I felt really bad, so I just couldn't do it, you know. So
yeah, if you were single,
boys,
it would have
but...
cards would have been still on the table, you know.
Yeah, you would have been doing dishes at this house if you were single, but you know, it's fine.
Yeah, honestly. But no, I will say it's definitely been a great experience. I do love all my boys in my previous band. I miss them a lot. Huge shout out to them. Without them, I definitely wouldn't be here, because that band definitely, I mean, it was my first band, so you know,
wow.
that's a big thing. But
Sure,
two,
yeah.
it definitely motivated me and showed me what I really wanted to do. I mean, I had a full ride to go to Full Sail University for game design.
Oh, very
so
good.
I was about to end up in some like AAA development studio behind a desk for the rest of my life, and then I dropped out to focus on music.
They made the worst decision ever, but it's all right. But you know, this podcast is all about Hunter's failed attempts at life. Stay tuned to next week.
Netflix documentary coming soon. You know.
Next week, Hunter's lawsuit against Burger King. Oops. So.
Oh God.
Pulling up the deep cuts on this interview.
Shit. All right.
So, but I think, you know, and that is an interesting thing. Like him being so far away. Like I said, it forced us to be a better band in some ways, because during so we've only played one show as a band.
Wow.
A killer show, best show ever. Let me just tell you.
Yeah, we opened for Belmont, which was really
sick.
Cool.
Yeah.
Big shout out to our boy Alex Zurich for kind of helping hook that up.
Yep. You know, we played with Belmont, Youth Fountain, Super American, and 93 Feet of Smoke, and that was a
great tour. Yeah.
Phenomenal show. Especially for our first show as a band. It was like, let's see how this goes, right? And it went really well. But you know, we had to do practices without Hunter. And so, I mean, our practices got unique to the point where, you know, while on bass, it works easier for him to have vocals, you know, in his ear. I mean, there are some very like melodic bass lines on some of our stuff, and if you don't hear the vocals, it makes it hard. And so, I ended up just creating versions of our backing tracks with Hunter's vocals on them, and we practiced with Hunter's vocals in our ears. And then I would switch our backing track set list to the ones without the vocals for the shows, and it was like, yeah, that kind of works, you know. I mean, it's not perfect, but by the time Hunter came out for the week of the show, we were solid.
I don't know how all these bands were doing it during COVID. Like Bring Me the Horizon, I don't know how they were writing full on album.
But they did it.
I mean,
it doesn't make sense to me. It's hard being so far away from each other. And they were in different countries.
Let me tell you this: if we had Bring Me the Horizon money, it would not be a problem doing that.
I was gonna say,
you're right.
When you have not at Burger King anymore money, you don't get to do that kind of thing anymore.
That's true. That's big facts. I feel that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm in sales now, so.
Ollie is not working on Burger King money, so he is not worried about it. He's just like, you guys want to go to the studio? Sick. Here's your plane tickets. And like, you're like, let me figure out how I can get on this Amtrak train to come out to
your city,
to Colt's shitty house so we can record like a demo.
Oh,
not even that. Like, I'm trying to figure out who's about to drive me to Chicago if Steph's not free to drive me to Chicago.
True.
I need an hour and a half car ride to get into the city to get to the train station, and hopefully my fiance's free from work.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then I have to give them $30 sometimes just to get them through to eat on the train, because you know, train food is like going to a baseball game and buying a $30 hot dog.
Yeah, it's not good. It's. Let me tell you, bring your own food on the Amtrak. They will let you. I started bringing like Chick-fil-A stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but you could like, I'm just saying, pro tip, you could bring anything on a train. They do not check. Code word, anything on a train, they do not check. Like, if you want to sedate yourself for the 8-hour train ride, they will not check. So I'm just saying, I'm not advocating.
Yeah, I'm not advocating.
Just saying.
I also will say to anybody that thinks we're advocating, they got police officers walking up and down them trains the whole time. The whole time.
I'm not saying you're not playing a game of Risk here. I'm just saying it's much lower than a plane. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Don't sneak out of country cheeses across an Amtrak train. So
yeah, it's but anyway, so yeah, I mean, we've had kind of a weird like up and down and just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, and like I think we've gotten into a good groove of that, of just understanding like, okay, like this works for us, this doesn't work for us, like, you know, practicing these days works, you know, these days don't work because, you know, like we know that if we get into a cycle where we're practicing on Thursdays and Hunter's not going to come in until the Friday before a show, now we have to move practices and everybody has to adjust their schedules, and it's like it's one of those things. It's like we're adults now, right? So it's like you have to have the adult conversation of like, look, I've got this going on from this to this and this and this and this, and it's like it feels like we're much busier people in general than we probably are, but it's just, you know, 5 dudes schedules trying to juggle all that. It's not a joy, especially with, you know, one of them not being here. So
it doesn't help that we're not in high school or college. Like all of us are almost 30 years old, if not over 30 years old.
Yep.
And you know, like that's little bit of a weird.
Don't tell TikTok. Don't tell TikTok. They'll probably kick us off as a band. Yeah, so we're like all 20 right now. So
we're all 20. Yeah, we're all 3 of us are 20.
We nailed it. Yep.
Nailed it. We'll cut out the part where we said we're almost 30. I mean,
you know,
totally
I will say
we don't need to hear that.
I don't get TikTok. I don't. I don't either.
I get
it as much as I don't get it. I get it as much as I don't get it.
Like, my watch is dead. How much time do we have to go in about how much hatred for TikTok there is in this band? Because I feel like we'll simultaneously get both of our brands canceled, but I'm okay with that. So let's do it. Because here's the thing. If you are not a 18-year-old Machine Gun Kelly fan wearing a Metallica shirt while not being able to name a Metallica song, who is more in tune with what's trending than what sounds good, then you are fucked on that app. And it does not matter what music you put out. And this is not sour grapes. I couldn't give a shit if Clearfight ever trended or went viral on that app. That's fine. But I couldn't care if this band succeeded. That's fine. I'm having fun with it. But when I see bands like Belmont, I see bands like Knuckle Puck, I see bands like Home Safe, and like these awesome pop punk bands, right? And then you have other bands that have been at it for forever, and like it's like how are these bands not bigger than they are? And it's like, oh, because
they're not on TikTok.
Or they are, but they don't give a shit, and they're putting out good music. They're too busy writing good music. They don't have enough time to worry about like, what video is going to make this 16-year-old laugh and then send it to their friends and then get 1 million views. It's like, no, like let's make good music videos and songs and go on tours that matter. And it's like, you see these bands, and I shouldn't be name dropping bands because they're going to be like, we're on TikTok, shut the fuck up. But comparatively, not really, you know. And it's like, and I hate shitting on bands because I don't like to gatekeep. Like, you love who you love. Like, listen to what you want to listen to. It's 100% like,
I love Alanis Morissette.
Who the fuck doesn't? But I mean, like,
that's true.
You know,
big fact.
Like, but like when it doesn't matter what you like, and you know, I think it's more of like put music about music, put social media about social media, and I hate that, you know, so many labels, so many people will tell you like the only way to get to blow up anymore is on TikTok, and it's true. That's the part I hate. It's not that they say it, it's that that's the truth of where we're at. So I look at it as, hey, you know, do we have to play a little bit of the game as a band? Yeah, unfortunately, because we're on a label, we have obligations, we have, you know, we don't, and it's not even it's not an obligation of like, you have to do this on TikTok. It's an obligation of respect for Cody and Chris for taking us on, and we want to do the best we can with, you know, with sales and you know, like ticket sales, streaming, all of that. We want to bring in the best numbers that we can, so we have to play a game a little bit. But good God, Clearfight hates TikTok. That could be the name of this podcast. I'm all right with it.
I have to agree with you on that, Cole, and that's not just because I'm, you know, of a certain age that I'm totally not going to mention and definitely did not cut out from this video. I feel like for me, I kind of am in the same camp where, like, if you don't make the content, like, and you know, that's speaking from someone who's literally making a YouTube video that I will then post onto YouTube for content purposes. But I feel like
poser.
I am the biggest poser on the internet. I do feel like it is kind of like, it's, you forget that. I think sometimes you forget it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's funny. Like, that's a funny moment you could post about, but like, also at the same point, you're like, you could also be making like a new song or like something that is gonna, you know, last a lot longer than, you know, the 5-second TikTok you'll make, you know. So
I'll break it down. At the end of the day, I want to be a musician, not a TikToker. There was a time in my life when I wanted to make YouTube videos, and that's what I did. But all those YouTube videos are all on my YouTube channel, not associated with the band. I mean, I think the only thing that really upsets me about TikTok is when I feel like I'm making something that I really, really enjoy and really feels personal to me.
Sure, yeah.
Just good content. If it's not just a trendy joke or following some trend or some offensive meme, like, it doesn't get any traction.
Yeah.
And that is it's almost like if you want your music to be successful, you have to be on TikTok. But for your music to be successful on TikTok, you have to post other things that aren't your music.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have to post like dumb shit where you're like, oh my God, this is our 5 favorite songs, like, and then just do this like thing where you have to kind of like, you know, throw it together in editing and just like, you know. And I'm not afraid to admit I've done some TikToks, and like, you know, it just doesn't, like, people always ask me where, you know, like, are you going to be posting more content there? And I was like, I always kind of toy with the idea of like, you know, it might just be kind of more of the like B-sides where like you'll see some of the shit that you probably wouldn't see me normally do, just like from a, you know, YouTube, you know, making YouTube content kind of central idea. But I think for bands, it's like, you know, you can see it all the way up to the chain from like people who are just like, oh, well, you know, this person made this video saying like this song, you know, won't be popular because, you know, like, you didn't make a viral TikTok about it or whatever, you know. And that sucks. That's what it has to come to as an artist, where, you know, like, you know, Hunter was saying, where, you know, you're left to put the, you know, the musician podium here, and then you have to take up the like content creator podium and be like, I have to do this in order for this podium back here to, you know, be of value, right? And that, I think that as someone who is older, I think it just kind of feels a little ass backwards, where like, you know, if, you know, growing up in, you know, in my youth, where, you know, where music was like, okay, like, if you wrote a great song, like, that shit's gonna be great, you know, and I'm gonna love it, right? And then versus where like, okay, well, this doesn't have a viral moment, like, you know, certain artists that are in, you know, in the top of the chain, where like they're like, oh my God, this person's been doing pop punk and like he's been doing it for such a long time, and like he's killing it because he's making YouTube or, you know, TikTok content. And then some other, you know, Clearfight, for example, like, you know, great shit, you know, but like, it's not like, oh, this is like MGK level shit, you know what I mean? So people are kind of gonna
It's
unfortunately,
better.
pass it
It's
off.
better.
Pass it off. It is better, 100%. I would put 1,000 chips on Clearfight, versus MGK.
Look, if you, in your opinion, if you sat Dropout down next to an MGK song, same producer, so, I mean, what would you pick?
I mean, come on, it's got to be Clearfight. It's no contest,
Right.
because the content, like the thing that gets me or had gotten me into the alt scene is just like the way that you're able to connect with artists, right? And so like when you're writing pen to paper shit that is like real and that happens to people, that is going to resonate way more with me than like if this song is like has Willow Smith on it or whatever. And that's no knock to Willow Smith, she's great, but like that doesn't really think it doesn't make me think, oh well, this person is really writing the music because like they want to they want to affect someone's life in a either emotionally in that way of like, okay, I can resonate with those feelings that person had or wrote about, versus like, okay, like this song is like literally a piece of shit, you know what I mean? Like
Well, I mean,
so,
we don't rip off Paramore. So that's
fair
usually,
enough.
a good sign
That's
that
a good
we,
start, yeah.
we actually sit down to write our own music. But, oops. I mean, but that's, I don't know. For me, there's songs with like a lot of artists that I can't stand on a personal level for what they represent for the music industry,
Sure,
and
yeah.
even the pop punk scene in general. On a personal level, musically, like the music that is put out today is insane.
Credit where
I
credit's
mean,
due. They're pushing our scene
yeah,
to where
Yeah.
we want it to
yes,
be.
yeah, but I give credit to the like the Andrew Wades and John Feldmans and Matt
Yeah, yeah.
Malpasses of the world that
Sure.
are sitting down and helping write this stuff, because the fact is, it's not Machine Gun Kelly sitting down and writing all these songs, no matter how much every person on TikTok probably thinks it is. It's the same thing as like
But his name
they
appears
produce.
in the credits.
Yeah, so he
Yeah,
has to have written
but
it.
you know how many people write on Beyonce's music?
Fair
It's
enough.
Oh
Yeah,
not
oh, yeah.
gosh,
just
yeah.
Beyonce, but is that wrong? No, I mean, I love producing on other people's music too. I think it's just having the mindset of understanding these people are figureheads of what the industry wants music to be right now for
Sure.
the
Yeah.
scene. It's not a matter of, well, MGK came in and changed the pop punk world. No, a group of producers and songwriters and like a label came in and changed what they wanted pop punk to
Sure.
become,
Yeah.
so then they can capitalize on it, and that's fine. But we're not buying into it. Dropout is as close as you'll hear us get to the more modern pop punk sound. And
Honestly, if anything, I would compare Dropout to something more Stand Atlantic than anything else. It's
Sure.
like
I would
with
agree
my
with that.
vocals, I definitely aim for what Bonnie kind of does a bit with her vocals in terms
Sure.
of her gritty, powerful high notes. Like I just love and respect that. Just her as a singer, I don't know, it makes me feel better about my voice, because I've been made fun of for having a high voice, and
Nah, that's good.
being able to sing those notes like makes me a lot happier with myself.
Certainly.
well, and I've had like a really cool front row seat from the first song that we started working on to Dropout, and even the new stuff that we're getting ready to record, that like you can see the progression in Hunter's
Sure. Yeah.
confidence, and like you can see the progression in all of our confidences in writing, like just our composition, how we're putting our songs together, and like targeting it around Hunter's strengths as a vocalist, targeting it around my guitar playing and like what I do better at and what I don't do that great at. And like, I think it's just we're maturing as a band, and
Sure. Yeah.
we've really hit our stride. in the last few songs, and Dropout is the first of those songs that we finally get to share with people, and show them, what we've been working on, and how we've matured as a band. And like you mentioned, like you listen to some of the other stuff we have out there. I'm still proud of Goldmine. I'm still proud of the EP we wrote. Split Tongue, the most recent song that we had dropped up until Dropout, that was a really great song too, that we had a lot of fun doing. And all of the songs that are out today, we had mixed by Seth Henderson, and that was a really rewarding thing for me too, because Seth Henderson mixed one of my top 5 pop punk albums out there, Copacetic by Knucklepuck. And and the new stuff, so Dropout was actually mastered by Chris Crummett, who mastered that album. So I finally have gotten the combination of people that I've just been like dying to have work on our stuff. And now we're exploring what else can we do. And like it's just been fun. We get to work with different people, try different things, and now we've hit a stride where we're like, man, like we're actually moving at like a serious pace that we started not even a year ago, and we're just like booking it now, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like from my perspective, I haven't really had a ton of success making music until this band.
That's awesome.
I was really new at it. I had only played 4 shows before joining the band.
Wow.
A couple like 2 20-person shows, a 40-person show, and then I had one show opening for Attila and Jinx, which shout out to the Jinx boys, my homies there.
Hey.
Love those boys. But it's been such a new experience to me that I definitely have had to work on confidence. Like the first show, I was a little bit nervous.
Sure.
It was like, okay, we're not about to go play at a bar in front of 20 people. We're about to go open for Belmont in front of 200 people. And I mean, people were hyped. It definitely it'll go down as one of my permanent favorite memories. There's this little blonde kid that came up to us after the show. Dude, this kid was shaking at the end. He's sitting away from us, probably 15 feet, just standing there shaking, looking at us. And somebody's like, I think it was my fiance, or it could have been it could have been Colton. I don't remember exactly who said it, but they were like, I think that kid wants to come talk to us. And he's just sitting there shaking, holding a hat. He comes over. Can you guys sign my stuff? Coolest kid ever. But I've seen him a couple times comment on our stuff. So
that's awesome.
Big shout out to him.
Yeah.
And I think
that was really cool.
And I think, that kind of puts in perspective, and I guess takes our conversation as a full circle moment. As much as we probably hate the people that are currently fronting, pop punk as a whole, I think it's a good thing, just because if anything, people like us will go and find those bands that are just, underground, that are really doing great shit. And, they're, God, I will go a lifetime trying to get every fucking band on the face of this earth on this channel and still not have enough years on my life to do that, and I think that that's a great thing, that there are always constantly bands out there that are doing stuff that, always surprise me, and I've been doing this for 6 years. So it's always something that keeps me excited to know that, there are bands that are out there that, are really, digging their teeth in. And, I'm glad that, pop punk is starting to see a large resurgence. And I hope that, I hope that people go out there and find bands like Clearfight, where, there are a lot of depth to, pop punk artists out there, and that obviously, like that kid moment at, the Belmont show, that they'll go and tell other people and be like, you should check Clearfight out. And I think that I hope that trend continues. If there's anything that I think, is worth saying, I think that should be, where bands go, where other people are like, yo, I found this really sick local band that I wasn't expecting to like know anything about, and then I wind up loving them, and so I feel like that if anything were to continue, I'd honestly hope that would continue, not only with your band but just with bands in general. But we're gonna move it on into the next question because that was great. I loved it, and we'll continue moving it along. Kind of alluded to it earlier, guys, but who, Hunter and Colt, who influenced you like early on to get you started out, either singing or obviously playing guitar, and then who influences your style like more currently now?
I'll let Colton start with this one.
Yeah, well, I already know your answer. So yeah, Hunter and I had this conversation just with each other to learn like about that, and like not that long ago either. So, but for me, I will try and keep this as short as I can. So
it's all good if it goes long.
I've just been sitting here like doing this all day, like not a lot to do. I just like switched jobs. I'm in the middle of like switching, and I felt like I burned a whole day. So I've been like, I can't wait to. Thank you. Finally, can't wait to talk. So I'm just like, all right, let's go. But musically, so I credit my dad for getting me in love with music at a young age.
Shout out to the music dads out there.
The music dads, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And, he was a big classic rock fan. And, like I grew up listening to Queen and Zeppelin and, John Fogerty and like all these different artists that, and it wasn't just a brand of classic rock either. It wasn't like I only listened to Skynyrd in Kansas. It's like everything under the sun from like late 60s to like early 80s. It was all fair game and on our radios. No, Hunter, I'm going to interrupt you next. But like that was kind of my growing up. But like as I tried to start getting into guitar in high school, I was listening to like, going into high school, like MCR was big when I was, when I was going to that. I'm not super old, but like, like makes me feel old when some people are like, I wasn't alive when MCR. But it's like, who's MCR? I don't know. Who are your parents? But but like it's MCR, Fall Out Boy, like bands like that. And then I started listening to like, I got into some like bad rock music, like Shinedown and stuff for a while. And I went and got myself saved and never did that again.
We all had those moments, I think. So to be fair.
Yeah. But it's just like, I don't know, like it was a weird mix. And then I think the band that changed it for me to where I said, wow, like I want to do this. It's probably two bands. So the first one was Goo Goo Dolls. So
okay, yeah.
So I saw the video of them when I was in high school, or maybe a little after, and it was Goo Goo Dolls playing in Boston, I believe, and I think it was like 4th of July weekend, and it was like 2005, and they're playing Iris in like the pouring rain, and not a single person in the crowd left, and they're just like going even crazier, and it's like, this is like monsoon rain, like
yeah, I see that. Yeah, the video is great.
And like, yeah, and so that hooked me. I'm like, I want to do that, like that was just amazing. It just shows like how passionate people are about music at their core.
Oh yeah.
And then I think Foo Fighters are the second band that got me like really, early Foo Fighters got me really into like the blending of like kind of like cool alternative rock with like pop punk elements, and like there was just a lot of really cool stuff going on. And so I was like, okay, we need to like figure out what I want to do for like actually playing music. And I grew up in high school in church, so I played in like a worship band at the time, and
I feel that. Yeah.
And then I canceled that subscription. But like when I was doing that, you learn
That one hit
about
too
a
close
lot
to
of,
home. I just want to let you know, Cole.
yeah, for real, man. Canceled that shit like Peacock. But like it's one of those things where I learn a lot about writing music when you go to church and you're in the worship band thing, because you learn a lot about dynamics. Like their music is all about dynamics, because if you can't build to where you're having your like spiritual orgasm at the end of it, then it's a failed song.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
Not wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that phrase is in like Corinthians. You have to go check. But but like, it's just one of those things where like I learned about that in high school, and then I started listening to all this other music that exemplifies that, but also gave me a different way to think. So I think a mix of that, and then Goo Goo Dolls on top of like Everclear, Lit, Third Eye Blind is a huge top 5 band for me. And so we actually have a song coming out in August that is very much like 90s inspired, like very like Third Eye Blind, Everclear kind of vibe mixed with kind of the modern like Neck Deep, State Champs sort of vibe. And it's really cool. And we actually have a really cool feature on that one too that we're really excited about too. But it's like it's a really cool mix for me. I love the 90s stuff, and pop punk didn't come to me until a lot later. So I think it helps with the writing process that I'm able to bring some of the older stuff in with how we write, along with blending it with what kind of the pop punk scene likes and what I like out of it. So that's kind of me.
I think I'm a little bit different with mine. Kind of similar. Starting out, my dad was in a band when I was growing up.
Very cool.
Jimmy Hoffa. So all he did was like tour and show me like hard rock songs and stuff. I'm a Chicago boy, so I grew up listening to Q101 when I was in the car, Man Cow Molar, going to the Alley, which if anybody knows what the Alley is amazing. amazing place to go for the people that know what it is. But I grew up listening to like Green Day and Red Hot Chili Peppers, Linkin Park, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was born in '96, so I grew up in the early 2000s when pop punk was really like, becoming a big mainstream thing.
Yeah.
So it was really a part of my childhood. I know all the words to the Scooby-Doo movie, and I think there's like 2 or 3 different Simple Plan songs in that movie.
You're right.
Yeah, I was obsessed with Simple Plan because of that movie.
Fair enough.
I think they did like the Scooby-Doo theme song remake too. But
I think they did.
Eventually, my dad, around like I think it was just after the summer of 2014, he was like, "Hey, I went with your sister to this concert, and we got this sampler CD, like let's listen to it. I think you'll enjoy it." And it was the Epitaph Summer sampler.
Ooh.
They had gone to their first Warped Tour, and they were like, "This was an amazing experience. You'd love it, Hunter." And I think the heaviest band I listened to at the time was Breaking Benjamin. So I was like, I'll go. And so I went out of my way to find a couple bands that I enjoyed. One of the bands was I Killed the Prom Queen.
Ooh.
Yeah, I loved them. I thought they were awesome. I'd put the newest album on, and I'd go to sleep listening to it. And then the other band that I found, simply because their name sounded cool, was Knuckle Puck.
Yes.
I was like, their name sounds so cool. And then I listened to Copacetic, loved it, especially because I got bullied in high school. I didn't have a lot of friends, so
feel that too.
Listening to that type of music and really not having a successful life popularity wise really opened up some feelings in me.
Oh yeah, baby. The emo feelings.
I decided to go to that for that 2015 Warped Tour. My dad drove us to Milwaukee, and I I think we went back to the hotel room, and I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to be on a stage. I want to sing in a band. I'd done like 10 years of choir, so like it's not like singing was something random that I
Sure,
decided
yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something I had done since I was like 5 or 6 years old and first going into elementary
Oh,
school.
very cool. Okay.
Something that was always a part of my life. I couldn't exactly find what I wanted to do in my life. I tried programming, graphic design, and every single time I'd get to a point where I was like, I don't want to work in some office at a desk in a cubicle, locked away from people. Like, I love talking to people.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy life and see things and travel the world and meet new people and just experience life, so I made that quick decision after discovering pop punk. I mean, like, it was bands like Neck Deep and With Confidence, Stand Atlantic, Knuckle Puck,
Yeah.
that just like pushed me to want to listen to and play that music.
Sure.
And
yeah.
especially I made really good friends with the band I Prevail when they were super small.
Very cool.
They're from Detroit, so they weren't super far from me. And around the time that I was getting into metalcore music and pop punk, mainly metalcore, I got into metalcore and all that way before pop punk. And I just went on YouTube and I looked up like punk covers of Taylor Swift. And at the time, whenever I tried to find new bands, I'd search by upload date instead of most popular, because I wanted to find like new bands that nobody knew about.
Yeah,
and
I got you.
I found like 1,000 play video like Taylor Swift cover. It was like, these guys are awesome. Added them all on Facebook, all that, followed all their social media. And now obviously most people know where I Prevail are now. But I've been lucky enough to make friends from that. Not only with the current boys in the band, but like ex-members. Like, one of the people that gives me the most advice now for just music in general is Eli, their old bassist. Like, I would say that guy is easily one of my best friends.
Oh, that's awesome.
He has been a huge instrumental part in just like pushing me to pursue having a music career and just making music in general.
That's awesome. Colt,
Hunter, should we tell the Shinedown Zach Myers story?
Oh yeah. Excuse my language, but fuck Zach Myers. Let me just start right there.
Yeah. All right. So that is the right way to start that. Fuck Shinedown and fuck Zach Myers.
Let's just start by saying, if you were in one of the biggest bands on the face of the planet and you're going to talk to people that may have been fans of your band in the past, you don't tell them that you're better than them based on your follower count.
Yeah,
especially when you're
literal.
They're like award-winning artists, like one of the biggest bands on the face of the earth. The follower count does not matter.
No.
But Colin, you tell the story.
So I couldn't even tell you how the argument began. I'm pretty sure he was saying some like really fucked up political or military related bullshit, and I just commented on the post or on his feed or whatever on Twitter, and he just kind of decided to reply to me, and that ended up being his fatal error, because he replied to me giving me attitude, and he was like Hunter said, he said something like I'm gonna listen to some band with like 100 followers. Have you seen our follower count? Like, just like this really like cocky, stupid attitude. And I was like, yeah, the follower count doesn't matter when half of them are bots and the other ones are 35-year-old meth heads who live in bumfuck Alabama. So it doesn't really matter. And
like, this dude went back and forth for days.
Oh my God.
It was like a couple of days of us arguing.
Give it up.
Well, I mean, it may have. When I jumped in, it ended the day I jumped in on it because because they were in Kansas City.
Oh
that
my
night.
God.
They were playing
Oh,
a show
no.
in Kansas City, and I think he realized that the band's from here, and he said, "Yeah, we're in Kansas City tonight. Why don't you show up, man? Let's square up and see who's real tough or whatever." And I was like, and I'm like, bro, I know where you guys are playing. I'll meet you out back the Quit Trip where all your fans do their meth. I'll be there in about 30 minutes. And that was the end of the conversation.
Oh my God.
So it was just fucking wrecked him. And then he came back. And I think I commented one more time and I said,
Oh my God.
man, I would love to see your record label see how bad you treat their fucking fans and the people on Twitter. I'm sure they probably think twice. And then all of a sudden it was like, I'm sorry. It shouldn't have been acting like this, whatever. And then he blocked us. So we're blocked by Shinedown because Zach Myers is a pussy. So that was so fuck Zach Myers. That's our story on that.
Oh man. Oh man. I'll have to find. I also have something very similar. Not with Shinedown, but I'll have to go and look and see if I have it in my ether of videos. But I'll tell this brief story and then we'll move on to the next one. But I got into a beef with the vocalist of Trapped.
No, not a surprise.
Not a surprise. Not a surprise to anybody.
Like who hasn't? Who hasn't at this point? Like fucking Big Bird did. Like, I mean, it's
I had it was early on in my YouTube career, and I saw their name and I was just like, everybody knows Headstrong, so I mean, I was like, okay, well, I mean, that's as much as they suck. I was like, that song, was in the dad rock phase, so I was listening to that, so I was just like, oh well, it would be really cool to interview them. And this guy couldn't be much. This was before all of the political shit, but he couldn't have been more of a douchebag than I could have ever imagined a person to be.
Yeah, he's the frontman of a dad rock band.
Yeah, I mean, I should have known at the start, but I mean, I thought I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the internet lies sometimes, and you're like, oh, I'll play it out. I'll play it out. I feel like I'm a pretty nice guy, so I'll play it out. So I had talked to one of my contacts, and I was like, okay, when we set this up, and then he was talking about I was like, oh well, I do the video format stuff. He's like, well, Chris doesn't want to come on for a video, he just wants to do it over the phone. So I was like, well, fine, whatever, I don't care. I'll have Chris on because it's big name, whatever will happen. So I remember talking to him. This is and will probably only be the only interview that I have not posted on the 6 years of doing the channel. So it is somewhere in my ether somewhere, but it lasted for about 12 minutes, and I'm being polite. It probably lasted more so 6 minutes, because this man could not get faster off the phone than to just not answer my questions and only answer them with one word, so I was like, okay, cool.
So
thanks for the time of day.
You had a podcast that lasted longer than his sex life, so I don't know what you're complaining about, really.
Honestly, that is true.
I mean, also lasted longer than their fame and popularity, so that's also impressive.
I will say,
that's their whole discography combined into one song.
I bet I was just gonna say, I bet that the podcast was just he started singing Headstrong a cappella until you just ended it. That was probably
not wrong, honestly.
I was gonna say my old band, our very first show we played this small bar show, and we were advertising it on on Twitter, stuff like that, and I had seen Trapped was advertising that they were playing a show in Fort Wayne, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I think I just commented on it oh, sick, there's a big band that's gonna be playing the same night as us, that sucks, and I don't know, he took very big offense to it and started just talking shit. Now, I mean, we didn't have more than 40 followers on Twitter at the time, so it was weird for Trap to be adding us in the first place. But then they were telling us they were gonna come play the show and order a pizza, and we were gonna deliver it to them and stuff like that. Now, meanwhile, I found out they sold 8 tickets to that show. And
I was gonna say, you probably had more people at your show than.
Yeah, they played a strip club. They had more people there for the strippers than were there for their music.
Oh my god! There's probably more strippers there at the show than actual people that wanted to pay to see them.
That's what I'm saying.
They're the musical, like they're like synonymous musically with like a Steven Seagal movie. Like no one really wanted to see it. It just kind of popped up, and then they were like, ugh.
I almost feel like Chris Taylor Brown like had like a breakdown on Twitter one night when he was drunk and said some stuff about Donald Trump and different political stuff, and then like obviously like had a shit storm that followed, and then I think he realized that was making them viral, so he just continued it on. I almost feel like it's more
it's just one long
trolling.
bit.
Yeah, I feel like it's one long bit at this point. That it's all just advertisement because Trapped have no natural growth anymore.
But then he can't blur the line between if it's a bit or if it's his actual personality. So I mean, we're not too far off from that. I mean, they're the musical equivalent of a clown. So I mean, you know that. So
yeah,
if anything we've taken,
kind, not the Pennywise kind. So
if there's anything you've taken away from this is that Audio Addiction will never have Trapped or Shinedown on the channel, so you can be rest assured that they will never show up here. And if they do, then that's the end of the channel. So
we'll definitely show up for
Zach Myers,
as long as they're not here.
Zach Myers, Colt Cohen's showing up on this fucking podcast while you're on it. I'm gonna beat your ass virtually just because you're too much of a pussy to do it in person. You loudmouth, meth head attracting piece of shit. Simple Man My Ass. That's fucking Leonard Skinner's song. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, their biggest song is a cover.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad.
Like,
that's pretty sad.
Fucking A, 45.
No,
my ass.
Some bands that have gotten successful in the pop punk scene off of their covers, but fuck them.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck them.
Oh man, that was great. I love that. The next question I have for you guys, you know, what are you listening to more currently? What's on the Spotify? What have you guys been listening to lately?
I've been listening to. I really like some of Magnolia Park's stuff.
Yeah.
They've been putting out some cool stuff. You know, I'm really happy to see that. I didn't even know this. You know, Matt Malpass, who, like we mentioned, he's who produced the mix Dropout for us. Yeah, he's been producing some Magnolia Park stuff, which is really cool. Didn't know that, and I've been really liking what they're doing. There's a couple other artists. I mean, Belmont's most recent album is just insane.
Fire. Yeah.
So good. They should be like immensely proud of that album. And on top of that, I guess, you know, Hot Mulligan has always been a band that I really like. They just dropped that new single, Drink Milk and Run, which is actually really catchy. The only thing I hated is their really stupid like social media campaign that they tried to run for it. It was like pretending their account got hacked. It literally just frustrated me online every time I would go by and see them making really stupid posts. I'm like, oh my God. I think I actually commented on their Twitter. I'm like, just drop the fucking song already. Like, I know that's what this is. Just fucking drop it. And they did. And I was like, perfect. The song fucking slaps. Thank you. You know, so like, I love that. I mean, like, so the band I was in, prior to starting Clearfight, we actually played with Hot Mulligan
cool.
well before they kind of blew up, and that was a fucking wild show. They were so good, and such humble dudes. I mean, we hung out, played video games with them, and just like
very neat.
Got to know them, and they were so cool. You know, so I'm extremely proud of them and excited for their success. So I will always have them on my playlist. And then other than that, you know, the only other band I guess I'd throw out, I mean, I have a ton on there, but like Real Friends, like all the new stuff they've been putting out is just killer. You know, I love Cody's voice in that band.
Yeah.
I think it was such a great decision bringing him in, and everything they've done has been pure gold. since they brought him in. So I cannot wait to see and hear the new stuff that they've been working on recently, and I'm sure it's going to be just as good, if not better.
Can't agree.
Honestly, mainly, like for me, I've been listening to a lot of, not a ton, a little bit of the new Stand Atlantic album.
Yeah.
Lots of No Pressure.
Ooh, yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Parker Cannon's side project is really giving me old school Story So Far vibes, which I'm not getting from modern Story So Far.
That's, yeah, you're not wrong.
Same with Rationale. I'm in love with Rationale. It's same exact thing. It's Knuckle Puck stuff that I'm not getting from Knuckle Puck. Other than that, With the Punches have been a big one that's been newer to me.
Yeah.
I didn't listen, I didn't get it. As I said, I didn't really get into this scene of music till about 2015-ish. So I kind of missed out on that early 2010s pop punk, especially those smaller founding bands like With the Punches. So like our cinematographer Alex Zarek, he sent me one of their videos and was like, yeah, dude, you got to check them out. This is what I'm working on right now. They like these are like guys that like inspired like Real Friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, the OGs.
Yeah, these guys. One, they like our music, so that was
very cool.
A big surprise to me. I got a message from Dustin in the band, and he was like, yeah, I love Split Tongue, and that was a huge surprise to me.
That's so cool.
Huge surprise to me, and a really big moment. I had to explain to my fiance that it was like, it was almost like if Led Zeppelin went to Greta Van Fleet and we're like, yeah, we love your music,
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I'm still listening to a lot of the same pop punk I've been listening to that's come out with it between 2010 and now. I think the one song that I haven't seen talked about enough online that I really, really have been liking a lot is Jabo by Waster.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Their new stuff, I know they get a lot of shit for sounding like Neck Deep, but now Neck Deep don't sound like Neck Deep.
That's fair, yeah, that's fair.
And since Neck Deep have a different sound, now Waster are kind of like they're their own thing now. It's almost made it better for me. I almost enjoy it more now because it sounds a little bit more unique. But God, that song is a bop.
Yeah, I can agree. The new Worcester stuff is good. I will say I actually enjoyed the newest Neck Deep single, STFU. That felt very like. That felt very like old school, like older-ish Neck Deep, And I was cool. I was cool with that. So I'm liking the direction they're going in thus far, like just bringing it back to the roots a little bit. So
it's weird though, because I wasn't expecting that post Danny. When they announced that Danny was leaving the band, I was expecting
them to go in that alt direction, yeah.
Yeah, because I met him in 2017, and I had talked to him a bit about what their favorite songs were that they had written and stuff like that. And Danny was very adamant that on Peace and Panic, the only song that he really, really enjoyed was Don't Wait. And I was like, okay,
wow.
It's obvious that this guy really likes playing the punk songs the most.
Yeah, the OGs, the older songs.
So I thought that him departing the band meant we're about to get soft Neck Deep. But that song, I know the first couple singles for those major label bands sometimes can be a little tricky towards what the rest of the album will sound like.
Sure, yeah.
But that is the most old school Neck Deep song that they've released in the past 6 years.
I would argue that as well, yeah. And that's great. So I'm glad that, I think maybe just because, again, circling back to kind of the first point we were talking about of just pop punk seeing more of a resurgence, I just appreciate that bands are really, again, going through that route of, pulling out their roots and really doing some real cool stuff. That new, With the Punches track was phenomenal. I'm excited to, listen to that as well. And then, even listening to, some Clearfight stuff, especially Dropout, the first bands that I could think of, that you guys resonated with were, the top three I could think of were real, like older real friends, like probably like, you know, first couple records. Um, I would say older Knuckle Puck as well, and then I'd probably say kind of a more current-ish band. I would say like Pacific, that kind of
Okay.
vibe.
Yeah, I love
So,
Like Pacific.
oh, they're
so-
fantastic. That new record, I feel like flew under a lot of people's record, thought
Yeah.
process. But that was just as good as some of their previous work, and I already adore all of their other records. So to just a band that I feel like is just consistently making good pop punk music. I feel like you guys are, definitely in that lane of like bands that, those are the three bands that I could think of. And honorable mention, I would also include like the Wonder Years. Definitely gave me a little bit of soupy vibes. So I was
There it
vibing.
is. I knew he was gonna say it.
There it
I knew he
is.
was gonna say it. That's probably the biggest comparison I've gotten to people since joining this band
Fair enough. Yeah.
and releasing music. Is people are like, "You sound like Soupy," and you know the funny thing is I don't really listen to the Wonder Years.
That's
know
even better.
Passing Through the Screen Door, and that's it. I don't listen to any other
That's
Wonder Years
wild.
songs. I don't really listen to modern baseball. I mean, you'd think that because I'm like straight up in the Midwest, and that I would be into
The
all
Midwest
of those,
emo.
like, Midwest emo bands, but I don't know. I'm definitely into more of those angrier pop punk bands.
Fair enough.
We have to cover a Wonder Years song just
Oh,
for the
no,
fact,
I
I want to do an A B
want to so
comparison, but yeah, it is a comparison we've gotten a lot with Hunter's vocals. I mean, definitely not the music style at all, which I think
I would
helps,
agree,
right? Like
yeah.
if we were writing more like Wonder Years esque like instrumentals, and then
Mhm.
Hunter sounds the way he does, it would be like a
would be close.
shitstorm of people just
Yeah,
being like,
we'd be
"Stop
Waster.
it." Like, yeah, we'd be the Waster of the Wonder Years. But that's our debut album name, by the way.
It's called Waster of the Wonder Years.
Waster of the
Yeah.
Wonder. That would, I mean,
Yeah.
not a bad option. I don't think.
Don't tempt me with a good time, man, so.
I don't think Cody and Chris would be too thrilled about that one, but for legal reasons.
Maybe might be right on that one.
Trademarking is going to be difficult.
Trademarking would be very difficult. Yeah.
Just being able to say it out loud at a show might be difficult. I don't know. Depends. So
Yeah.
probably not a good idea, but
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, I feel like it's, as being someone from Pennsylvania, so close to Philly, like, I hold it as a high compliment to you guys. So I don't know if you take it the same way, certainly, but I was like, just seeing that band grow in this area, it's, I feel like you guys definitely have that energy. So it's a good thing. But
definitely a compliment.
Take it as a good thing.
The next question, Colt kind of alluded to it a little bit. Guys, if you were to collectively write a cover, record one, what cover would you guys wind up working with?
Oh gosh.
I mean,
this is a difficult question.
Yeah, I don't think we've had like a serious conversation about that yet, to where we could even give like a solid answer. I mean, we've talked about the whole Wonder Years thing just for the sake of like all the comparisons, but I think, man, I would love to do like more of like a 90s cover. I would love to do like a Third Eye Blind song.
Ooh,
like,
okay, yeah.
Do like cover like Semi Charmed Life or something like that'd be really cool. Or
I really wanted to do a cover of Accidentally in Love by Counting Crows.
Ooh,
like that'd be a good one.
Just a pop punk cover of that would be fire.
Do a cover of like Father of Mine by Everclear. That'd be really cool.
Oof, yeah.
Like I think kind of doing that flashback to some of the older stuff, that would be a lot of fun, and we can make it like modernize it a little bit, still keep it close to its roots. I think that would be that'd be cool. I don't like doing I'm personally not a fan of like doing covers of songs that are like today music, even if it's not in the pop punk world. The only band that's done it in recent memory that I can say absolutely just kills it is Belmont's cover of Stay is so
Yeah, that
good.
was good. Yeah, I agree.
You know, like they did that perfectly well. Actually, it's the only version of that song I listen to.
Fair enough. Yeah.
You know, so I mean, but I can't like I just don't see us being that band. I think we're the type band that we could take a song and add some of our flair to it and make it different again. And that's why I always look at 90s or like early 2000s stuff. You know, like I know Hunter would get his like nuts twisted if I said that we would cover like a 21 Pilots song because he would love it, but will not
Yeah, I
happen.
probably
So
would.
get over it, Hunter. But
Honestly,
you know,
I think in terms of shows, like for like playing a cover at a
Sure.
show,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the band I really want to cover is Linkin Park.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, I, as you can hear from our music, I do like my grittier vocals a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And Linkin Park is a band that was very influential in my music taste now.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of bands that I listened to growing up that now, because my music taste has changed, I don't really ever go back to and listen. I don't listen to much Green Day anymore, even though I was obsessed with them my
Sure.
entire childhood up until adulthood. But Linkin Park, I still like every time they come on. That's a band that I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to skip this one. I'm going
Yeah.
to sit here and
Oh,
scream these words out in my car.
well,
there.
and we have a new song that like I said, we're recording in a couple of weeks, and there's a verse in it that is very Linkin Parkish. It's
Ooh.
very
Okay.
like kind of more that like screamy rap sort of vibe that has like a very Linkin Parkish beat behind it.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it's like it's really cool that we can pick elements of our inspirations and music that we like and throw it in and not just keep doing like the same rehashed stuff. It's like, has anybody in the pop punk scene really gone into like that, like really gone to that new metal sort of vibe and like, let's
Yeah.
try and
Sure.
bring that Linkin Park vibe back. Like, there's not really a lot of that. And I'm like, that'd be kind of cool for a song. Like, give it a whirl, you know? And so it's cool. Like, it's cool, Hunter, like you mentioned that because I'm like, I didn't even think about that, but that is something like we're starting to see in some of the stuff that we're writing. It's like
Hmm.
we're finally getting the inspiration to write music around songs that we listened to that were like previously probably like this may not work in the pop punk
Hmm.
scene, and now it's like we're gonna make it work because we're
Yeah.
the ones doing it, and it works because it's what we want to do. So it's like it's a cool like change of mentality, right? Like a lot of bands are like, this doesn't work because this isn't what bands are doing, and now it's like, no, we're going to make it work because we're the band who's going to do it. And I think
Yeah.
that's let us be more creative and like just try all sorts of weird stuff on these songs to see what works. And now we're like, oh, this is actually pretty sick. So
I think you got to bridge the gaps. Like, I think that's kind of what I've noticed with bands that, at least in my mind, that I'm like, okay, this band's doing something different. Like, I always appreciate when a band kind of breaks out and does something a little bit different. Like, and then just crafts it super well. Like, you know, I know we've been mentioning Belmont a lot, but I feel like they have found this way of incorporating like you know, hip hop, like trap beats into their music, and like really, you know, experimenting on that side. And then they did like a whole ass country song on like their
Yeah.
last record,
Meanwhile,
you
six
know.
years ago, people were calling them knuckle puck ripoffs, and now they
I,
are
completely different.
revitalizing. Yeah, they're revitalizing the sound of pop punk.
Yeah, and I think that the fact that like their technicality hasn't died out either. Like, I think that
Yes,
some of
yes,
some of their songs are just so unique in the like being a guitar player and kind of listening to some of that stuff. It's just so different from what the atypical like pop punk band. And that's not to knock them, because I do love those, you know, I do love a lot of the bands that do that sort of stuff. But, you know, just to, for the sake of being different and trying to do something completely out of the box, I feel like they always have done a fantastic job of incorporating their influences in such a way that doesn't change their sound so much to the point where you're like, is this the same band? but doesn't
Right.
like stay so safe that you're like, okay,
Yeah.
well they could have done something different, you know. And I think they just hit that nice sweet spot between being like out there, but also just like really honing in on their sound that much more with each record. So I, gotta give props to Belmont because they're always doing some great shit. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There we go. Some Clearfight merch.
I will say
Just
it
got
almost
this thrown at me. So
it almost makes me think that Belmont's guitarist was a jazz musician.
I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
My first band that I started, my guitarist like played jazz his whole life since he was like 4. His dad was like a music teacher and had played music his whole life, so kind of pushed it onto him.
Yeah.
So he was like, one of those prodigy type kids on guitar. And like in all of our songs, he just wanted to add these chords chords I'd never heard of, but 2, just like songs would come out and I'd be like, yo, this is so math rocky sounding. But like once I was like really getting into Belmont, I was like, man, his guitar playing sounds very, very similar. Like,
yeah,
so
and then you have Clearfight where it's like caveman trying to start a fucking fire playing guitar, and it's a different vibe. So
they're all welcome at the table. So I love it. So regardless of
Clearfight can't afford a fucking table for our guitar playing, so we just
right now, man. Remember, I'm working at Burger King.
Man, you guys.
No, you're not.
Yeah, not anymore. I quit.
Nah, you guys are writing, you guys are writing the great shit, so, don't knock yourself for, doing the work here. But, funnily enough, that segues beautifully into the next question I have for you. For people who are unfamiliar with Clearfight and want to, get a better idea for what you guys are going for in your sound, what would be one song you'd recommend to a new listener to check out?
Man, I mean, I would recommend everyone to listen to Dropout in 3 days when it comes out, because I think this band has gone through such a whirlwind of, like evolving and maturing our sound that it's really hard to recommend anything that's already been released to give an idea of what the band's going to sound like, because we're evolving so quick that you could listen to Split Tongue, and then when you listen to Dropout, you're going to be like, wait, this is the same band, right? And so I think listening to Dropout is probably the best recommendation I can give, or like break into my house and listen to the stuff I'm recording now. It'd probably be the quickest way to figure out what we're sounding like.
I legitimately thought Colt said that was the song title, and I was like, what?
That is the song.
Break into my house and listen to my songs.
Breaking into his house. His alarm system is loud.
That is loud. But also, I mean, I would do that song title, but I feel like Hot Mulligan isn't trademarked. But it's
that's fair. That's fair.
It's even better.
Boy. Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, I would say Dropout. And I think we've been lucky enough to figure out early on that, as we started working on the first like 3-song EP that's out, Comfort in Your Skin. So, I mean, a little bit about that EP is that, there's not really, I don't say story, but there's kind of an agenda behind that EP when I wrote it, that it was almost like a cathartic thing to release. And it wasn't meant to be, this is what the band is going to sound like. It was meant to be, this is where I've come from musically, and this is kind of where I'm at. And so, before this band, I was in a band called Such Luck, which they're a pop punk band that did pretty all right for not really doing a whole lot. We recorded out of our other guitarist Ethan's basement at the time. It's like home studio. We just like he did all the tracking and mixing and mastering all himself, and it was like very DIY. But we had a song that got like 1.4 million plays on Spotify and blew up, and like we got a lot of good attention from that.
And if it wasn't for it,
like,
I wouldn't be in this band.
True that. But it's weird. Like, I love that music, but then the band before that was like a pop rock type band. So we were doing more like that 90s sort of vibe.
Sure, yeah.
And so when you listen to that EP, we have, Which Way's North is more like the Such Luck style music. It's like very pop punk sort of vibe. Avalanche is kind of like a blend of the two. So it's almost like showing my transition in between the two of saying like, I've really like found who I am as a musician. I love all the genres that I've played in, but like it's kind of like a transitional period for me as much as the song is kind of transitional. And then Black Ink is very much more like a pop rock sort of like huge anthem sort of vibe. So I think it's really cool that I was able to like put down my artistry and experience into like a 3-song concise EP. And that was kind of the point when I wrote it. It was just get that out of my system so I can start fresh, right? And then Split Tongue was kind of the start of figuring that out. And I like Split Tongue, but and I don't want to take credit away. I mean, like Which Way's North and Avalanche, like Hunter helped me write lyrics on that. It wasn't like just me. I wrote the instrumentals. A buddy of mine, Dylan, who Dead Idol is his music project. Definitely check him out. He's awesome. I was in a band Mime Game with him years ago, and him and I collaborated on a bunch of stuff too. And he's cool. He's a very phenomenal songwriter and just a great friend. So I mean, he between all of us, I mean, we were able to make these songs what they became. But Split Tongue, I'm not extremely proud of that song, even though it's a good song.
Sure.
I'm not proud of it because I felt like I regressed to like my like the most generic in my head way of writing pop punk, and I was like, I'm just going to write a pop punk song that I think people are going to like because it's a pop punk song. And it wasn't like something that I was extremely excited about writing instrumentally. I just wrote it and I was like, oh, this bangs for like a song from 2015. Like, and that's kind of how I felt when I put it out.
On our music, man.
No, man, it's honesty. It's honesty, and this is where I think we're different as a band. Is I can dog on our music because, like, I look at it as it was awesome, and then I don't know, like I found myself continually kind of changing our band, changing shapes, like what we can look like, what we can sound like how do we present ourselves, and
evolving.
We don't need this whole facade of like pretending to be a pop punk band. We're just going to be a band, whatever that means. And I think getting Split Tongue out was like the best and worst way to do it, because then I was like, okay, live and learn. I wrote a song that everybody likes that I'm not like in love with. And then we wrote this song that I mentioned that we're dropping in August. So it's called Save It. And it's very like inspired by stuff I like, and it's music I haven't written before. There's some Hot Mulligan vibes to it too, in some ways. Right. Like in the intro, it's like just guitar and vocals, and it's very like, it's just like very moody, right? And it's super cool.
The feature is amazing, by the way.
And the feature is amazing. And I think it's just one of those things where that was the beginning. So like, it's kind of hard to, it's like, I want people to just listen to Dropout to get a vibe where we're going. Sure. I wish they could listen to Save It first so they could get the full story of like how we got there, but they're going to have to kind of listen to it in reverse order with how we're releasing things. So.
What about you, Hunter?
Honestly, I'm just really happy about where we're at right now. A month or two ago, we were crashing and losing monthly followers, and now it's and now we're signed to a label. It's spiking back up. While I don't know, I want to put out music that obviously doesn't completely flop, but at the same time, I want to put out stuff that I can look back on in 10 years and say, I am still really proud of this and understand the mindset I was in when writing these songs. As Colin stated earlier, a big inspiration of mine. And honestly, I don't know if I'd still be here today if it wasn't for listening to that music. It's 21 Pilots.
Ooh, okay.
And so, I mean, I was very suicidal, like, you know, a bad part of my life.
Sure,
and
yeah.
When I discovered that band, their lyrics really like pulled me out of that. For many people, if you guys, anybody listening doesn't know, 21 Pilots really push for just mental health advocacy in their music.
Yeah, sure.
And they're a very anti-suicide band. And that I really resonated with that and loved that about them. And so when I started making music, that's all I wanted to do, was make music that, one, I enjoyed, but two, would help somebody out that
Sure,
could help
yeah.
somebody out. So whenever I'm writing songs, I try and write stuff that is gonna help me in my mental state at the current moment, but also, I mean, just help people in general. The random kid George who's getting bullied in school that doesn't know if he wants to continue on tomorrow, you know.
Yeah, sure. And I
had a friend who when we started writing this stuff, I would show him, you know, practically everything that we were writing, like well before he was even done. Like I would just be like, "Hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that?" He was like kind of one of my guinea pig friends that listened to every good or bad thing I wrote. And I remember being told like there was something going on in their personal life, and they were like, "I've been listening to this a lot lately. It's been helping get me through. Like, thank you, you know." And that's what I want to write. Like, I don't care at the end of the day what it sounds like, as long as we're passionate about it and it brings something to somebody else's life that is a positive, you know, it's a positive mark on their life for whatever reason, right? And a lot of our music is about mental health, and we have so Split Tongue is actually kind of about like bipolar and talking about, so Split Tongue's not really about a person, it's about yourself, and it's about you know, there's a line there, it's like I'm better without me, and that's like I'm better without parts of me, but those parts of me are kind of like I can't live without that part of me, so I just have to learn how to live with it and get better, right, with it. And it's we unfortunately don't have the privilege to, you know, pick out certain parts of ourselves and just, you know, throw them away, right? And that's what that song is about, is just learning how to cope with all aspects of your mental health, your personality, and how to get through, you know, the rough parts of ourselves and let the better ones shine through. So that's a lot of what we write about is mental health. And you know, I lost my mother to suicide. I've seen friends that have, you know, that have gone through some serious bouts of mental health, and people in my close family, not just my mom. So there's a whole slew of it that I don't think this band would exist if it wasn't really writing about topics like this that are very personal. They're very hard for some people to listen to. And by nature, that kind of probably segments us off from certain people, because some people just want to have a good time and listen, not have to think about lyrics and feel emotions. They just want to, other than happy, you know, and
Yeah.
we love writing that stuff too when we can. But man, like, who's going to write about the stuff that's going to make you, you know, actually confront some of that stuff in your life and hopefully get past some of it. So that's what we like to write. And I think Dropout is an interesting one, almost, you know, contradicting some of that. It's not super in your feels. It is very much of a you know, like, it's summer, go have fun, enjoy your life type of song, while also saying fuck you to the people that try and stop you from doing that.
Yeah.
And don't let people get in your way of enjoying your life. So it's there, you know, we've been starting to try and change the quarter and how we write from you know, like, don't be sad, don't kill yourself, get help, talk to people, to, hey man, fuck those people, go have fun, enjoy your life, don't let people can drag you down. So it's like we're talking about the same thing, we're just trying to change the tone. And it's a really interesting thing writing about it. In any way that you can change how you write about that topic, I think it helps, right? Some people want something that's a little bit more happy, that still targets the same topics, and some people want something that gets them more emotional to confront some of the feelings that they're having. So I think it's fun for us to be able to write songs that handle topics that we're passionate about, because we've dealt with these issues ourselves. And we can think about it, what kind of music helps us get through it, right? And so it is a very interesting thing. And it's weird to talk about sounding all excited about it, but I am excited about it because it's helping people, and people have already said that to us, and we're already awesome. Seeing the benefit of what we're doing. So if anything else, as long as we can help one person with the music, it's literally a success for this band. So
no, and I think that you know, resonates a lot with what I do here, where, you know, I feel like, you know, for myself too, like, you know, mental health is something that's important to me, and, you know, trying to, you know, let people know that, you know, there's ways to be, you know, there's ways to reach out to me, and, you know, feel free to DM me if you know, if there's something hard going on in your life, you know. That's, I think that the core ideology of, like, I would say for a large majority of the people that listen to this type of music is that, you know, you're there for those people when, you know, when you should be, and you know, not that you feel obligated to do it in any way, but that you want to do it because you want to be able to help that person out of a tough situation or something that they're, you know, maybe someone's not listening to them, or, you know, whatever it may be, you know, to be able to try to give someone advice, or to hear hear out something, you know, shitty that's going on in their life. And I think sometimes, you know, even at the base of things, that, you know, at the end of the day, somebody just wants to be heard, right? And I think that's really an important thing to talk about. And I'm glad that, you know, I can always highlight bands that, you know, speak about, you know, honest things, because I think it's, you know, as Colton said, it's very hard to talk about those things in a way that people can kind of understand, or you know, be immersed in. And so, you know, I appreciate what you guys do, certainly, and, you know, appreciate, you know, that you guys can talk about those things in you know, in a good way, and in hopefully in a positive way for other people to, you know, be able to experience, you know, that sometimes life isn't always, you know, sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes it is, you know, difficult things that have to be talked about. And so, you know, I appreciate that you guys, you know, are taking that mantle up for that. But to move things on to the next question, guys, you know, you know, for lighter things, if you guys could pick somebody to collaborate with, I know you guys have a guest feature, you know, song coming out in August, but if there was somebody on your dream bucket list that you would want to collaborate with, you know, either on a guest vocalist spot, or, you know, producers you want to work with in the future, do you have any in mind?
Ooh.
Producer, I'd love to work with Tyler Smith.
Oh, yes.
Especially for what we're doing right now in terms of our sound. Tyler is really bringing back that new metal sound.
I would agree. Yeah.
I would say Tyler is like the Matt Malpass of metal music right now. I mean, starting obviously with I Prevail and their Trauma album really sparking it, but I mean I Prevail, even Bring Me the Horizon, like hell that's basically brought back Limp Bizkit from the dead,
Pretty
brand
much.
new album, and I don't know, he's that producer out there that is doing one, phenomenal work, but two, unique work that I'm not hearing in other genres.
Sure. I would agree with
And
that.
on top of that, every song the man puts out is a banger. Every song he's worked on has been phenomenally good. There hasn't been one where I've been like, man, it seems like he was really tired and decided, you know what, I'm just going to half-ass this one and get this one done as soon as I can. Like, it really, from what I've heard from like my friends that know him, is that he really is, he's passionate about what he works on.
Oh,
And
for sure.
he'll go without sleep. Dude will just go without sleep to work on it. He'll work on something 20 hours straight.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
Man,
yeah, I mean, I'd love to work with him as a producer. And in terms of vocalist, probably Derek from State Champs.
Ooh, okay.
I'd love to see how my vocals
Match up
mesh
with
with his. Yeah. I think the
I
harmonies would be great.
I think that'd be really good. Yeah, I think so. Two producers, I would have to say Zach Servini is really great. Makes some really good stuff. And John Feldman. Those two are, I mean, just ridiculous. Classic.
Andrew Wade.
I mean, he's up there too. I almost said Andrew, but the thing is, I feel like we're not that far off from working with Andrew. I think, I
wouldn't disagree
I wouldn't
with that,
be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if maybe I hit him up by the time we're doing our debut album. I think it's one of those things where it's like I feel like we've been inching there. Like we're working with a lot of his like peers, and it's like a really interesting thing where it's like just kind of like it's almost like just missing each other as we're showing up at the same store. I feel like we're gonna eventually the stars will align and we'll end up doing that. But Zach and then John Feldman, they're both really good. That I would love that. And then for feature, I think Chris Caraba from Dashboard Confessional would be really cool.
All right.
And I only say that because I just hung out with him and the Dashboard people over the weekend, and
very cool.
they're the nicest people in the world. Another person, I feel like Joe Taylor would be really cool.
Ooh, okay.
I do. I think that doing something a little bit more in the split tongue vibe for a song and having Joe Taylor on it would just be like chef's kiss, like beautiful. Like it would just be perfect.
Taz from Belmont.
Taz would be a good one.
Yeah.
And then I think for the newer stuff like Dropout, I think it would be really cool to have like somebody that is more out of the pop punk scene.
Okay, fair enough.
Or like not directly in the pop punk. Like it's hard to place it. I've almost had that issue because we talked about at one point maybe having a feature on it, and it's just hard to like pick the right person for that vibe because there's so many ways you could go with it. But I think just having somebody do like those like really high like melodies with Hunter and being able to throw harmonies on there and like almost like the Kellen Quinn style of and that maybe that's the right person, right? It's just somebody who can just belt on those notes that are just like, good God, because that is one thing. Like, I'm thankful that Hunter has such a massive range, and his vocals, and it makes it
agree.
easy for me to write music because really it's like the key doesn't matter. I can just write something.
I like to compare my vocal range to Brennan Urie. Try not to be cocky about it when saying that. But from what I've noticed, I can hit his high notes. Any of the high notes that he's shown that he can hit, I can hit. I don't know. I may be able to go higher than him, but he goes one octave lower than me. So I'm really, really working on that. But I mean, in terms of writing songs, whatever Colton has sent me, everything Colton has sent me in terms of like demos and stuff, and he's like, here's what I have an idea for like the chorus. I have never had any trouble trying to like just singing what he has for his ideas.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool thing where like it's like an embarrassment of riches right now for us, where we get to work with a lot of really cool producers and talk to a lot of really cool musicians that, you know, it's like not even becoming a wish list. It's just almost becoming like a planned bucket list. And that's the coolest thing is like, we're not sitting here like, what if? It's like, I can't wait until, you know, and that's
sure.
And that's probably been really cool. And I will say, like, talking about vocalists that can do like that really cool like blend of grit and just awesome cleans and like hitting those high notes. The feature on Save It is somebody who does it so well on their feature, and it's like it's going to be something that I think is going to kick off some really cool opportunities of the kind of the next generation of songs that we do, like getting to experiment with other features and stuff. But he's equally excited about it as we are. Like we all just end up texting each other, just being like, dude, can't wait until this song comes out. Like it's so yeah, I mean, it's like
he's honestly became such a good friend of ours,
dude. Yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that. It's like who do we want feature? It's like anybody that is as cool as these people that we've been talking to already, because it's like it's all about connections and relationships more than anything. Like you can meet all these cool people, but at the end of the day, like, do you really want to share music with people that just go and do it and then you never talk to them again? No, man. Like you want to be able to like be excited about that with them and want them excited about what they're doing on it. And so, yeah, I mean, like I named all these people, but if one of them was like, yeah, I mean, I'll do it, I'm not super excited about it, I'd be like, no, fuck that, I'm good, bro. Like, keep doing your thing. You know? Like, so at the end of the day, I named all these people, but if like none of them liked what we were doing, then, you know, peace and love, dude, but we don't need to work together. It's all good. Like, you know? So,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, we've been lucky.
Yeah. Like, so far, whenever we've noticed that, like, people don't really like vibe with our music, maybe just want to work with us because it's working on music, we kind of cut that out. I don't know. The thing that I've loved the most about making music is just all the friends that I've made. Because as I said earlier, I got bullied growing up. I had no friends.
Yeah.
So
I feel
like,
that. Yeah.
and then following high school, I had no friends. I had no friends in college. And then I started working at Sweetwater, which is why I got my Sweetwater shirt. Also, don't work at Sweetwater. Don't work at Sweetwater. Cancel Sweetwater. They treat their employees like shit. Like shit. But, you know, that's a story for a different day. And, like, honestly, I'm a little scared of Chuck Surek, the man, the owner of Sweetwater. He is a very weird, creepy dude that has way too much money, a lot more money than people realize. Like, this guy, when I'd be at work, would fly in his private helicopter and land in his private helipad that he has out in the middle of our parking lot where all the employees park. And then he would come inside and he'd come up to, I was a data entry specialist, so I was basically shipping out everybody's packages. There was like 14,000 to 20,000 orders that would ship out in a day. And there's in total across both, like all the shifts, there's probably like 16 people that are shipping it in total. across the hundreds of people that work in this warehouse, getting the boxes ready and doing all the other stuff, there's 16 people at the end that are like making sure the order is perfect. He'd just come and take us to his house to clean out his barn. He'd just come pick us up and be like, get in my car, we're going. And like, I have way more stories, like so many stories about this guy that aren't the best. They don't paint a pretty picture.
Oh, look, Hunter, we have this interview. We have one next week. We've got some things we have to do before you get us fucking like got by this guy. I would like to get these interviews done before a fucking hit gets put on us.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'll move past the Sweetwater, but because I'm
just saying, like you're gonna get us killed, and then my email's gonna get a $10 off coupon, and I just don't. I'm not going to be able to use my Sweetwater coupon if I'm dead, Hunter. So you got to like.
Your Sweetwater engineer is going to be so confused when he calls you and you don't answer. He's going to be like, "Hey, Brad, here, man. Just trying to check up on you, see how you were enjoying that orange amp."
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
But no, so like at Sweetwater, I really started like really making friends, and especially like band friends that I had met from like going to Warped Tour and just talking to people when I was there. So like once I started playing music, like that's honestly what I liked and cared about the most. I mean,
fair enough.
Making friends and having fun. Like I noticed very quickly that it was that just this scene in general, pop punk metal, the Warped Tour type scene, just everybody is so connected to each other.
Yeah, it is wild.
I talk about somebody and to one of my friends, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy."
Yeah, it really is like that.
Like, yeah, I'm homies with him. I'm like, what? The guy who produced our very first song, Goldmine, his name is Blake Coddington. He sings for a band called Letdown. I met him at some random bar in Fort Wayne one night, and me and him just hit it off as friends. And I realized like he had let me know like, yeah, I play music. My music career's like in the middle of taking off. I mean, dude's I think he's somewhere between 300 and 500,000 monthly listeners right now. He just signed a Big Loud.
Oh, very cool.
A couple months ago.
Okay.
But he was one who introduced us to Alex Zarek. Originally, he introduced me to him for my old band because I wanted to make a music video, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll get you the friend discount. We'll get you an awesome video, for friend discount." Now this guy's talking about a video that's going to cost $2,000. Like I'm thinking, like I need to find somebody that I can pay like $200 to make a sick video, and he's like, "Dude, I got somebody, friend discount. Don't worry." But then
Burger King money.
No, at that time, it was probably Boost Mobile money. So it's pretty much the same.
Not that, yeah, not too
I
far
was going to say, isn't that the same thing with a different name? It's like
it's like Burger King hourly plus commission.
Oh
yeah, we're talking neck deep in Waster here right now, right? Like
But so after like him talking about Alex Zarek and being like, "Hey, you should work with him," I looked into Alex Zarek's stuff. Obviously, dude, I found out dude worked. I mean, he's done videos for Meet Me at the Altar, Belmont, like lots of bands in the scene.
Yeah.
And then my homie who makes pop rock, and I was like, "Dude, this is so weird," Like, you're inviting me to a party to come meet this guy, hang out with him, and he works on all of my favorite bands, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
So that was really nice for us because it almost was like when we got to the point where we wanted to make a music video, and we were like, who do we work with? It was like a duh moment, like we know Alex Zarek already. Work with him,
and his work is exactly what it's the exact style of what we were wanting. And I will say that maybe Goldmine doesn't stand up to the test of time of what the songs that we're putting out now as far as production quality goes.
Sure. Yeah.
But that music video will stand the test of time 10 years from now. I mean, Alex did such a good job with the overall vibe of it. The Brian, his buddy who does like most, if not all, the lighting design work on his videos, he just killed it with that. And it just is.
Those lamps are insane.
Oh my god! I mean, it was like I had an idea for this from another band that it was a small local kind of like indie, like emo sort of band called The Atlantic, and they did this video where they had like a bunch of lamps in this room and they're playing, and during this like bridge it built up and the lamps just started flickering, and it was like super freaking cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, how are they doing that? And I'm like, I'm illiterate when it comes to like DMX controllers and stuff, so I had no idea it's not that fucking hard to do, but I'm just like, it's really fucking cool. So when we were going to do this video, I'm like, Alex, like, I have this idea for it, and he immediately was like, I know how we do this. I need you to like go to the fucking thrift store and buy like 10 or 12 like random looking lamps, and like get a bunch of bulbs, all the exact same bulbs, and like all this shit. And I went out and like bought those fucking fancy ass like Edison light bulbs and like like made it like real fucking nice looking. Bought a bunch of lamps. I think we like at the end of the day we just like gave lamps away to people in the band. We're like, here's a fucking lamp, because like I don't need 12 lamps in my house.
He tried to get me to take two of them on an Amtrak train, trying to explain how I'd be able to take them on.
They don't check you for anything, Hunter. It doesn't matter.
You could have had two free lamps, Hunter.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You could have bribed the Amtrak people.
I don't have enough
with the
lighting
lamps.
in this room.
You could have pawned off one lamp to the police officer on the Amtrak.
That's what I'm fucking saying, man. Exactly.
Oh, honestly, he would have let me bring anything on that train.
God. But that music video, like, it came out so awesome. Like, the lamps were like flickering on and off at different parts of the song. It was just like so well timed, and it was like almost like an ethereal feeling, like being in that video. And we shot this other video for our song Avalanche with Alex that is super cool too. Gorgeous. It's got like a little bit, it's a very pretty type of video. It was at a buddy of mine's house here who his mom like just redid like the living room and all that. And it just had like a really cool modern vibe. And yeah, I mean, Alex just does such a great job. And if I could just afford to have him shoot every single video of ours ever, I would. Makes it kind of hard when he's like 8 hours away too, and timing that with his busy schedule, because he is a busy guy who gets a lot of work very justifiably so.
Yeah, and he's up in like North Chicago suburbs. Oof. So like, yeah, it's as much of a trip for him to get to them as it is for me.
yeah, definitely.
Only for me, it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you get to work with Alex again. That'd be very cool. I'll be obviously keeping an eye out for.
I think it's a guarantee we eventually do. We eventually do at least one more video with him.
Yeah.
Whether that be our very next video, who knows? But I think it's a guarantee we at least do one more video with him. I mean, I love his work a lot, but also I consider him a really good friend. I would love to work with him again.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing for us right now is we are very focused on putting all of our money into the music itself, and like put a ton of money into our equipment to just be able to put on the best live shows we possibly can. And that was during the winter, as we kind of knew the show that we had coming up. I mean, we made a big investment there, and I think it's obviously paying off. I mean, we had a great show. We've been able to listen to our practices back, because we mic everything up, we record everything as we practice, so we're able to like live critique as we go. And it's so there's been a lot of great investment that we made there. And then I think we're investing in ourselves by just working with some of the top producers in the game right now in pop punk, and it's really
Yeah.
forced us to things that I wouldn't see because I'm not a trained producer, right? I write music that I think sounds good, and they're able to help throw in feedback and ideas of ways to make certain things sound better, make other things more relatable to today's audience and stuff like that. With how some things are maybe composed. I mean, there's a lot of really good stuff that we've been able to learn with working with these producers, and I think that's just like our focus now for quite a while in this band is just keep spending the money where it matters, which is getting the music made and out there. And but whenever we do decide to do a music video again, Alex is definitely at the top of the list of people that we're going to talk to.
There we go, guys. Next question I have for you is my personal favorite. I love asking it because I'm a huge nerd. If you guys could be a video game character, who would you be?
Who would I?
Oh man, I don't play video games, so I don't know.
Steve from Minecraft.
That's fair.
That's what
I can see that.
That's what I'm going with.
I mean, shit, I don't even know who that is.
Excuse
bro,
me,
I don't
man?
play games. And I don't play games on video games. I don't play games in life, so stop fucking testing me, Hunter. No, I mean, the only games I play are games that wouldn't really have characters I could even call out. I mean, I play like a little bit of Fortnite and a little bit of Rocket League, and I am a very big like professional wrestling nerd. So I have watched since I'm like 5 years old. We could do an entire podcast episode on wrestling knowledge. And so, like there's that, but I don't, I mean, video games are probably more Hunter and Gabe. I mean, Gabe loves video games too. So he would have been perfect for that question, but he's a college boy right now. So he's a little busy with learning and being a growing boy. So
I think my more serious answer would be Cole McGrath of Infamous.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it'd be cool to have lightning powers and be able to fly.
Woo.
That would be sick. Plus, the dude can like climb up buildings and anything. And when I try to even climb a tree, it's a difficult task.
Yeah, I think for most of us that's a difficult task unless you're like
it's hard.
Like, unless you live out in like the middle of the sticks, then that's what
I live in the middle of the sticks. I live in the middle of the sticks.
Well,
my town has like 3,000 people.
That's not an excuse, Hunter. I used to live in the sticks, so I know you can climb trees, like a fucking wildebeest or something. So
God.
So I can climb a tree, but like when me and my friends would when we wouldn't try and climb on top of the local school and stuff like that, I definitely would have trouble. I mean, climbing up a fence, not easy.
It is not. You're right.
Climbing fences is not easy, no matter how tall they are. I don't understand how people do it, especially the flipping yourself over the fence part. That's the hardest
such
part.
ease, yeah.
Yeah. How are people so confident with that? Doesn't make sense to me.
Doesn't make any sense, but do like your answers, both Hunter and Colton. It's as a resident nerd here on the channel, I have to, as you can see, my decor is nerd.
I see the Blastoise back there.
Nerd city here. So, but the next question I have for you guys, if you were to compile a dream tour lineup including Clearfight, who would be on it?
I think for me it would probably be. It depends on the mood, but like right now, I would say, man, all bets are off. Money doesn't matter. I would say like us, Third Eye Blind, Belmont, and let's do like Real Friends.
Ooh, okay. I can vibe with that. I like that. Hunter, what do you got?
I'm gonna say headlining band, A Day to Remember.
Ooh, okay.
I want some moshing at this show. I will say I'm a little biased, but you know, go with a data remember for open or for headlining band, and then I think like co-headlining band, maybe a little bit softer, maybe like With Confidence or Neck Deep.
Ooh, okay, interesting
Uh,
choice.
All American Rejects.
All right, for the old schools.
Yes, but I want like, oh, we're coming close to like 20th anniversary almost of Move Along. We're
Yes,
about 3 years away from that, which
we are.
that's crazy. That
That
20
makes me old as
years.
shit. Yes.
Yeah. But like honestly, like looking at what we're doing now, what we've done so far, I mean, 3 years, that's not out of the realm of
That is
possibilities. A
not.
20-year
That
anniversary
is
tour for Move
not.
Along, jumping on with something like that. I mean,
Woo.
I'd be interested in it.
Hey.
And then also Belmont too.
Ooh.
I mean,
All right.
we love those boys. We loved those boys before we met those boys, and then meeting them definitely solidified that. No, they're so humble. They're some of the nicest dudes. We watched UFC fight with them pretty much the whole night,
That's so
which
sick.
was very strange. Played some GTA 4 with Taz and Joe from Capstan.
Hey.
And they had just like, I walked by, I was like, am I allowed to come into this green room? And they're like, yeah, you're playing the show, right? Come hang out with us.
Oh, that's
So
so
like
sick.
for me, for it being like one of my first, like pretty much my first experience with like established bands, like playing a show with established bands in the scene, like, you know, like Attila, like dickheads, dude, just took girls back to their bus and
Yeah.
got way too drunk.
That makes sense.
You know,
That checks out.
the Jinx boys, they were sick. They were super sick. They chilled with me, but like the Belmont boys, like they really treated us like they had known us forever.
That's great.
And
Oh,
like we were
love it.
already on the tour with them. And they had wanted us to play on their April 1st Chicago show also, but then bus flipped and plans changed.
Oof. Well,
But I would love to play a tour with them.
I think you guys will, certainly. I feel like it's in the cards, you know. So I'll manifest that and believe that to be true.
Thank you.
The next question I have for you guys, if you were trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one album you could bring with you to listen to, what album would it be?
Pink Elephant, Stand Atlantic.
Wow. All right. That's vibes. All right. Okay.
It's a good
Colton,
one.
what do you got?
Man. I think it would probably have to be either Wasting Light by Foo Fighters or Copacetic by Knucklepuck.
Ooh, two fantastic choices.
Wasting Light. That is a very interesting choice out of all the Foo Fighter discography.
Yeah,
so the only reason I say that is I just cut, that was like when I was like first really getting into Foo Fighters. Like that album was just coming out. So
okay, yeah,
it just has a
Fair
lot
enough.
of good memories tied to it, more than I think it's like their best album. I think it just, there's a lot of really good memories for me tied to when it came out.
For me, with them, it's Sonic Highways, so very, very close. Like,
ooh, wow, interesting.
Yeah,
so you're gonna judge me for Wasting Light, and then you say Sonic Highways?
It's a great look. It's such a unique album. I love what they did with the aspect of going to all kinds of different producers for each song, but it coming out sounding like one solid album that was worked on by one producer and not like 10 different producers.
Next question. Jesus
Christ. I felt the shade on that one, certainly. But I mean, listen, I feel like realistically, like all of their stuff is so great. I mean, for myself, like, not that anybody's asking, but I would say Echo, Silence, Patience, and Grace was the one that I resonated the most with. So that one, you can't knock that one. That one's a fantastic record. So but again, all Foo Fighters is good Foo Fighters, so can't
Foo Fighters are better than Nickelback. Foo Fighters are better than Nirvana, I would say.
Where,
like, honestly,
I
know that's a hot take. Well, it's a
no,
hot
I don't.
Take, but
I don't think it's a hot take. I think it's an accurate take. I'm just, baffled that Nickelback was on your brain
It
in
was
this
the
conversation.
It was the end. I was thinking of Nirvana, but then like
Nickelback was the first one. Yeah, I feel that.
Well, I mean, they're both accurate. I mean, both of the statements are accurate.
That's also accurate still. The
statement
remains the same.
I just picture Smells Like Teen Spirit comes on the radio and Hunter's like, God, I hate Nickelback, and turns the radio off. What?
Yeah,
we can't confirm or deny
Nickelback
that's true, so to be fair.
Yeah.
So you'll have to...
He's listening to How You Remind Me, and he's like, damn, Nirvana puts out some good music.
That's some slapping shit right there.
Photograph is my fucking jam. This was good Nirvana.
My favorite song by Nirvana is Photograph.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Rockstar is a slap, dude. Like, just so good.
I'm being bullied.
Oh, all right, guys. And then the final question I have for you, I've been asking this to a lot of the bands I've been having on recently. It's just kind of a staple question I like to close out on. What do you want people to take away from Clearfight? You know, I know from a lyrical perspective, I know we talked about that. And then, you know, musically, we know where you reside there. But, you know, what do you want people to take away from just Clearfight, you know, as a band collectively?
We suck.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's been the big recent one. But no, I think for me, I want people to look at our band and be able to know that, you know, that they're not alone out there.
Sure. Yeah.
In their feelings. I know from being like a big music fan, a lot of people look at bands, no matter their size, in a different light, almost put them on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, knowing that if somebody puts us on a pedestal and sees us like that, knowing that we're going through shit like that too, the same shit that they're going through, like that's all that matters to me, is that our music helps people at the end of the day.
Sure. Can't disagree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and same here. I mean, I'm focused on, you know, making sure that whatever we do musically is beneficial to people's mental health, their listening experience, their day. I mean, just the 3 minutes that we're maybe lucky enough to have their attention, right?
Yeah.
I think it's about capitalizing on the minutes that we get with somebody with the music that you know we put out, right? Because all likelihood 50-60%, maybe more, even probably more, of the people that listen to our music, it's going to be the first time they hear it right now, and a good percentage of that they may not hear us again. And
fair enough. Yeah.
For many reasons, right? Genres have kind of almost like nomads that just kind of come in and hear something, they listen to it, and then they kind of tune out and go back to listening to fucking Jay-Z or whatever to listen to. But they hear it, and maybe it makes a difference for them somehow, or maybe it catches them to the point that they say, man, like that lyric hit me, right? Or like, man, that instrumental is like really good, you know? Like there's things that I just want it to resonate with anybody, but at least somebody to, you know, for these songs. So that's all I want is for us to just keep having fun, make really good friends, and make an impact on people. And that's all that matters, man. Like everything else, I truly believe that passion has to come before success. And
yep.
I am passionate about making an impact and making a difference with what we do, and success will come when the time is right, but it's not going to come at all if we're not doing something we're passionate about. And people before anything else should be the passion with music, because without the people, you're just screaming in a fucking echo chamber. So we just have to keep pushing forward and keep saying, hey, like, listen to it. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, no one cares. Like that's fine. Like listen to what you want to listen to, be happy, love music. It doesn't matter if it's our music, but we're going to keep putting music out there in hopes that people love it. So
certainly. No, and I feel like, you guys have made an impact on what I, do here on the channel, and, I appreciate you guys coming on and talking about, obviously, what you guys do, and, obviously I'll give you time to talk about where they can find you at, and, the social medias, and, listen to your music and stuff, and obviously all those links will be in the description. But again, it's cool to hear a band that has so much passion behind what they do, and that it's not some sort of like facade. It's actually legitimate, and so it's an awesome feeling to obviously support you guys, and to continue to hopefully have new followers to come check you out, and really resonate with what you do. So which I'll leave the floor to you guys. Tell them where they can find Clearfight at, what you guys have coming up in the next couple months, and anything else you want to plug or talk about. This will be coming out like mid-July, something around there. So I don't know what your timing frame is.
Yeah, so all of our social media is at We Are Clearfight. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, if you want to get the real deep cut, mean, offensive, Clearfight. We're on Twitter yelling at people all the time.
Oh yeah, we shit talk back on Twitter.
Yeah, we're nuts.
Somebody talk shit to us. We'll talk shit back. I mean,
yeah, we're the pop punk version of Trapped with our shit talk. So
yeah, we back it up.
But we back it up, and Donald Trump's a bitch, so it's all cool. But Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. If you want to see us be real cringe on TikTok, go for it.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And Dropout just came out recently. We have our new song "Save It" coming out August 5th. So keep your eyes and ears out for that. And then if you're in the Midwest area, we are throwing a really awesome pop punk show in Kansas City at Vivo, and that's going to be September 17th. And we've got us on there. We've got Such Luck. We've got Wes Hoffman and Friends from St. Louis, who puts out some amazing punk music.
Wow,
and then we've also got The Life I Love on that as well, who is they're a really good, like, kind of pop rock indie type band, who we actually were on the same management company as them for a while, and I've known Chris Sage from that band for a long time, and so we're going to be doing that. And then there's another band on there called Camp, who, if you love your Midwest emo, they are the source for it. So we're throwing it's hopefully going to be an annual thing, but I decided to throw this with a friend of mine, and we're calling it Summer's Not Dead. So so come check it out, and if you're in the area, and catch Save It and all the other tunes we're going to be dropping in the next several months. So
yeah, and come be rowdy. We want you to be rowdy. We want circle pits. We want walls of death. All of them.
Well,
yeah, we want rowdy boys. We want gay boys. We don't want Trump boys. So come out to our shows.
Leave your red hats at home.
Listen, I'm trying to see some heat in the pit, so go make it happen. If you do live out in the Kansas City area, I also want to give a shout outs to Wes Hoffman. He's been on the channel before. Love him. So big ups to Wes. Feel free to come back on, Wes. Love you much. Also, speaking about love, gotta give a shout out again to Cody, Chris, Theoria in general. If you haven't, go check out that label. Listen, they have fantastic artists, so please go give them some love, including Clearfight, which you can go check out. Links in the description to all their social media, new songs, new merch, whatever. It's all going to be there, so go give them some love. If you somehow made it in this almost 2.5 hour interview, bless your fucking soul, because this, I think this is might be the second longest interview I've done on the channel ever in my 10 year of doing this. So big ups to Clearfight for literally talking to me for over 2 hours. But
I'm a talker.
So am I. That's why I have this.
Hunter, I just keep hearing that sound. It's like, you talk too much. Boy, you never shut up! Like, that's us right now, bro.
It's okay. We love it here. We love these long form episodes. So please go give it some love. Honestly, I should just convert this audio into a podcast and I should just upload it, because at this point people enjoy that shit. But anyway, that's here nor there. Please go check out Clearfight. Awesome band, even more fantastic human beings, so please go give them some love. I want to give a shout out to Hunter and Colton for coming on tonight and just shooting the shit with me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, man.
I had a ton of fun.
Same.